Hello everyone, this is a super overdue video of 10 more moves that every beginner hooper should know. These are moves that are super foundational, and if you haven't seen my first video, I'll link it somewhere up here. You don't need to learn these in any specific order. They're just moves that every hooper should know when they're first starting off so that they can build off of them, because there are so many variations for each move, but these are just the basics. But first off, if you are new to my channel, my name is Kate, also known as Hoop with Kate on literally everything. I teach beginner and intermediate hoopers how to expand on their flow. If you're not already subscribed already, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below, leave a comment, share this with a friend. It just helps bring more hoopers to my channel so that we can grow the community even bigger. All right, so let's get into it. So the first move that I'm gonna be going over is something called a handspin, and that's gonna look something like this. So let's break that down. So all you're gonna do is take your hoop in your dominant hand and you're gonna have it in this vertical plane right here. You're going to extend your arm across and you're just going to flick your wrist back and then forward. When you're bringing it back, you're kind of just winding the hoop up a little bit so you can give yourself some momentum when you twist your hand back to the front. So when you're twisting your hand towards the front, all you're going to do is just open up your hand and you're going to bring it back in the starting position and catch the hoop. So you're going to flick down, release, and then catch the hoop back in the starting position. You wanna make sure that your palm is facing down, and then you're gonna bring it right back up so that you can catch the hoop. So again, you're gonna wind back, you're going to flick down, and you're going to release and catch. Down, release, and catch. So having the momentum of that wind back helps because you want to make sure that the hoop has a little bit of power so that it can spin around your hand. You want to make sure that your hand is nice and open like this because it's going to use your hand as an axis point to spin around. So let me show you a little bit closer up. You're just going to twist back, you're going to flick down, release, and then you're going to bring your hand back up in the starting position to catch the hoop right here. Twist back, release, and catch. So you can see that my hand is nice and straight as I release the hoop. I'm just turning my palm to the ground and then catching it in the starting position right here. So the next move that I'm gonna go over is something called sustained spinning. There are a lot of different variations of doing this, but I'm just gonna go over this two-handed sustained spinning. So it's gonna look something like this. So it's a really simple move. You're just going to have the hoop around your body like this, and you're going to slowly bring the hoop all the way up, and you're gonna bring the hoop all the way back down. You wanna make sure that you're keeping the hoop in a nice horizontal flat plane like this, so it looks like the hoop is just levitating all the way up and floating all the way back down. And then as you're doing this, you're gonna turn over whichever side is more comfortable. I like going over my opposite shoulder, and I'm just going to wind the hoop up. And as I'm spinning, I am constantly looking over my opposite shoulder, and with control, you're going to lift the hoop up above your head, and then you're going to bring it back down. So what makes this move look really nice is having that control and slowly lifting it up so that it looks like it's just floating up and back down. You don't want to bring the hoop up and down quick like this. If you want to make it look a little bit more fluid, you want to really control the hoop as it comes up and goes back down. Something that also helps with making this move look a little bit, I'm getting dizzy. Something that makes this move look a little bit cleaner and a little bit more fluid is also pulling your shoulders back as you are spinning over your opposite shoulder. So as you see, my shoulders are pulled back, my chest is kind of puffed out. I'm turning, looking over my opposite shoulder, controlling the hoop as it comes up, and then controlling it as it comes down. And so for this move, you can really play around with it. You can keep it up nice and high for however long, bring it down nice and low. It really is up to you. It's a really easy and versatile move, so you can make it look however the way that you want it to. Other ways that you can do this move is with just one hand, so bringing it up and back down, like this. You can also do this move with the hoop acting as like an extension of your body, so it's not around, but it's kind of being an extension of your arm. For this move, we're just gonna go over the basic two-handed sustained spinning. The next move I'm gonna go over is something called a fishy, so that's gonna look something like this. It's a really simple move, but you need to be intentional with your movement as you're pulling the hoop back and forth. So you're just gonna have your hoop in your dominant hand. What I like to do is pull the hoop all the way across until I feel that pressure in my forearm, and that's when I'm going to swing the hoop out. So you're always gonna be swinging the hoop out for this move, and then once it's in this vertical plane right here, you're just gonna pull the hoop and pull it as if you are pulling something that has a lot of weight to it. You're gonna be pulling it nice and slow. You can feel it in your bicep right here, and then as your bicep is feeling kind of flexed, then you're going to swing it back out, and you're going to land in the starting position right here. So again, you're just gonna pull nice and slow, feel it in your forearm, swing out, vertical position right here. You're going to pull all the way back, feel it in your bicep, and swing out. So it's always gonna be hinging and swinging away from you, but what makes this move look really nice is that control as you're pulling the hoop across and in front of you. So you really wanna make sure that you're keeping these planes nice and flat. You don't want them like to be crooked. You just wanna make sure that it's nice and flat so it gives it that nice floating illusion back and forth. And you can see why it's called a fishy. It kind of looks like a fish's tail swimming in the water. So that's a fishy. So the next move I'm gonna be going over is something called a body wrap. So that looks something like this. You're gonna take your hoop in your dominant hand and you're gonna swing the hoop over and across your body. You're gonna make sure that it lands on your shoulder right here. As it's landing on your shoulder, I kind of like to put my shoulder out so it acts as a shelf for the hoop to sit on. And as you're doing the swing, the hoop is gonna continue moving across your body. And since you have your shoulder out, it's gonna hinge around your body and it's gonna move across your back. So as the hoop is moving across your back, and you're just going to bring your shoulder back so that it can catch the hoop as it travels behind your back. And you're going to catch the hoop with that shoulder, and then it's gonna wrap around your body like this. So from the back, it's gonna look something like this. You're going to wrap the hoop on this shoulder, on your opposite shoulder, stick your shoulder out, catch, and then you're gonna bring your shoulder back as you catch the hoop as it travels around your back. Something that I also like to do is just kind of get my head out of the way. So as the hoop is coming to my opposite side, I'm leaning it over to my dominant, and then as it travels behind me, I just bring my neck and roll my head forward to my opposite side. So again, I'm here and here. It just gets your head out of the way. My hair is getting everywhere. So you're just going to lean and then catch. So you can see that my head went from over here to over here. Oh my gosh. The other ways that you can do this move, that's just a basic wrap, like around your back. You can also do this like around your butt. You can do a wrap around your front like this. Pretty much what this move is doing is using your body as an axis and like a contact point to wrap around. So for this one, you're using your shoulders. Here, you're using your hips and your butt. For this one, you're also using your hips and your lower body to wrap the hoop around. So those are body wraps. So the next move I'm gonna go over is something called a jump through, and that looks something like this. This move is just like jumping rope. You're gonna take your hoop out in front of you, make sure that it's in this flat plane like this. You're gonna grab it with two hands, and what I like to do is just bring my arms all the way up, and as I'm bringing the hoop down, I'm not grabbing the hoop and using my arms to swing it all the way down. I'm kind of letting my grip loosen up a little bit so that the hoop can naturally kind of hinge in between my hands. And then as the hoop is coming back down, I'm just going to step through, and then I'm going to swing the hoop up and over my body behind me. Again, you're just going to bring the hoop down. As your hoop is approaching the ground, you're just going to step in and bring it up and over your body. So this is a really simple move, and the timing is the same for every variation that you do. Different ways that you can do a jump through is this two-handed one. I like to kind of go into like a weave and do a one-handed jump through. Vertical plane jump throughs where you just bring it down and across. And there's also a reverse jump through like this, where you're just doing the move backwards pretty much. So you're always gonna be having a loose grip around the hoop so that it can kind of hinge as it swings down towards your feet. And then as the hoop is approaching, that's when you're going to jump through. But for this move, we're just gonna go over the basic two-handed jump through. So you're just gonna take your hoop out in front of you, have a nice loose grip. As it comes down, just jump through and swing it all the way back up. So the next move I'm gonna go over is something called an arm trap, and that's gonna look something like this. So it's really simple. I like doing these moves after you do a toss. And essentially what you're gonna do is as the hoop is in the air, you're just going to sneak your hands inside of the hoop and extend your arms out so that it's causing pressure in between the sides of the hoop. And you're just going to lock your arms in the hoop like this, so that your arms are kind of like weaved inside of the hoop. So you're bringing them in and down here so it gets kind of trapped right here. I like doing these, like I said, after a toss. So you can do a move like this where it's out in front of you. You can also do a move like this where you're just interlocking your arms inside of the hoop so that your body is shaped kind of like a K, and you're just locking your arms inside of the hoop like this. Another way that you can do this is by doing it behind you. And the way that I kind of like getting into that move is by tossing it up, putting it behind me, and locking my arms inside of the hoop like this. We have this arm trap from the front like this. You can also do it to the side like this, or you can catch the hoop like this behind you. So those are arm traps. They're kind of like a nice way to just pause with your flow and reassess and try to figure out what you're gonna do for your next move, but it's just like a nice like little buffer move and it looks pretty cute. So the next move I'm gonna go over is elbow hooping. So elbow hooping is gonna look something like this. So to get that move down, I'm just gonna start with the hoop on my elbow like this. You wanna make sure that your upper arm is nice and parallel to the ground, and you're gonna bring your forearm all the way back like this so you can create that point of your elbow, and you wanna make sure that it acts as an axis point for the hoop to spin around. So I'm just gonna place my hoop right here. So as you can see, since I have it nice and parallel to the ground, the hoop isn't gonna fall down or it's not going to slide up my arm like this. You wanna make sure that it's nice and flat like this. All I'm gonna do is just push the hoop so it gets it started. So I'm just gonna give it a push. And as you're doing this move, you wanna make sure that you are keeping your arm parallel to the ground, and you're just doing a micro bounce in your knees. You don't really want to do all the movement in your arm because again, you're going to slide the hoop up and down your arm like this. So you wanna make sure that it's nice and parallel. You can see that my knees are doing the micro bend so that it gives the hoop some momentum to move around your elbow. You're just going to keep your arm nice and parallel to the ground. You can see I'm micro bending at the knees and bouncing up and down. I'm keeping my forearm nice and close to my shoulder, and I'm just bouncing up and down to keep the hoop moving. Here's what it looks like from the front. Again, just micro bouncing at the knees. I am keeping my arm nice and still, just using it as an axis point, and that micro bounce is just gonna keep the hoop moving a bit. I lost my hoop. So different ways that you can get into elbow hooping is simply by placing it on your elbow like this. You can go into it from a chest roll like this. I like to get into it through an isopop like this too. So there are definitely different ways that you can get into the move and build off of it, but that is just the basics of elbow hooping. So the next move I'm gonna be going over is something called a smear, and that looks like this. This is one of my favorite moves. I feel like it always looks super pretty, especially when you're spinning. You're just gonna take your hoop in your dominant hand and you're going to bring it over to your dominant side. Palm is gonna be facing down, so you're grabbing the top of the hoop right here. You're just going to swing your arm all the way across, and as you are coming all the way to your opposite side, once it makes contact with the hoop, you're just going to smear the hoop up. So what I mean by smearing, you're gonna be keeping the hoop in contact with your body as you bring it across. So just look at my hip right here. As you're bringing it across, it's still touching my body. As I'm bringing my arm up and across over to my dominant side again, you're just going to have it be in contact with your body. So you're gonna be having it touch your hip, And then as the hoop is coming back up, you're going to have it touch your back right here. Once you're bringing it back down, it's gonna be touching your dominant hip right here. And then you're just gonna bring it down and over to your dominant side so that now you're in the starting position. So again, you're gonna swing the hoop across. As it makes contact with your hip, you're gonna bring your arm up and around your body. So just like this, you're kind of wrapping the hoop around like this, wrapping it around, making sure that it's keeping in contact with your body around your waist and on your back. And then as the hoop is coming back over to your dominant side, you're just going to bring it back into a flat plane, and then you can start the move over again like this. Something I also like to do is just keep my opposite arm out of the way. So bringing it into my body like this, kind of like hugging my body. Bringing it out over here, it's gonna obviously stop the hoop from being able to travel across your body and around your body. So keeping your arm nice and close so that it uses your entire body as an axis and there's no blockage on this side. So you're just going to bring it in and bring the hoop across. You can see that my arm is just wrapping up and around my body. I'm keeping that same grip on the hoop. I'm just making it a little bit looser so that the hoop can kind of naturally move around my body. You don't want to make it super tight because you want to make sure it looks like nice and fluid and gives the hoop kind of the freedom to move across your body. And you're just going to start with the hoop in your dominant hand, palm facing down. You're going to swing it across. Make sure that it's keeping in contact with your body. Keep that grip on the hoop. And then as it goes behind your body, you're just making sure it's in contact with your back. Then it's going to come in contact with your dominant side. And you're just gonna swing it back over to the starting position. Another way that you can build off of this move is doing a double smear. So the hoop just kind of smears across your body twice. Another way that you can do this is by doing a two-handed smear like this. So it's essentially the same move, but you have two hands on the hoop. And then something that I always like to do is spin as I do this move. And you always wanna spin in the same direction that you are swinging your hoop. So I'm going over to my opposite side, so I'm gonna be turning over my opposite shoulder. So that is a smear. So the next move I wanna go over is the basics of ghosting. So ghosting looks something like this. So these are really closely associated with isolations, which I taught in my other video. But essentially what ghosting is using your other hand to trace the outside of the hoop to kind of give it that added illusion that the hoop is floating in space. So the move that I was doing right here is kind of like a two-handed ghosting isolation. I'm gonna start with my non-dominant hand. I'm gonna place my hand on top of the hoop with my palm facing up. I'm going to isolate all the way down like this. So you're just gonna drive your arm all the way down and always keeping your body in frame just like this. Then I'm gonna take my other hand. I wanna make sure that it is closer to your body. You don't wanna bring it in front like this. You wanna make sure that it's closer. So I'm just gonna grab the hoop. I'm gonna release this hand right here. I'm gonna drive it down and across my body like this. And then I'm just gonna start the move over again like this. You're always going to be having your hands in motion. And you can see that I'm kind of like continuing the move, but as I let go of the hoop, I'm just grazing the hoop. I'm not gripping it here. I'm just tracing the inside of the hoop, and then I'm going to re-grip it over here. So it's always tracing the hoop. You're not grabbing it. You're just kind of lightly grazing it with your hands, and then you're just creating this illusion that the hoop is floating in space. So this is basic ghosting. From here, you can really build off of this. There are a lot of different variations for ghosting. So you can bring it out to the side, you can bring it over here, you can bring the hoop up. Ghosting essentially is just placing the hoop with your free hand and just creating more of an illusion that the hoop is moving. So that's the basics of ghosting. The next move I'm gonna go over is something called a horizontal toss. So in my first video, I went over tosses like this. This is in a vertical plane because the plane is vertical like this. We're gonna do a horizontal toss, taking your hoop, and we're going to try to keep it nice and flat. Bring your arm nice and straight over to your dominant side, and your palm is gonna be facing up. You're just gonna hinge your wrist, but again, you wanna make sure that plane is nice and flat. You're just gonna rock the hoop like this. So you're just going to release and catch on your opposite side. So it's gonna look something like this. And let me show you from the side. So you wanna make sure that you're keeping your body out of the way as you're doing this. Kind of like a chest roll, you're just going to bring your body back and elongate and give it the space that it needs to travel across your body. Ways that you can build on this, you can catch the hoop, toss it over behind you for a behind the back toss like this. You can go back and forth like this, but that is a horizontal toss. All right, everyone, so those are 10 more moves that every hooper should know. If you found any of these helpful, if you learned something new, or if you want to see more moves like this or another video breaking down ways that you can expand on any of those moves, be sure to comment down below. If you are not already subscribed already, please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. It just helps me grow my channel. It's a free way to support me. If you haven't already checked out my video of 10 moves that every hooper should know, I will leave it on the screen right here. And if you want to watch any of my other videos, you can click on another video right here. All right, guys, I hope that this helped. I'll see you in the next one. Happy hooping.